Look at a palace in your mind for a moment. Marble steps that don't apologize, gates that don't ask permission, silver that doesn't hide from the sun, servants dressed in the king's colors, floors polished until they speak. Write it down. A king's environment exposes his nature. The building is boasting on behalf of the one who built it. That's why when the Queen of Sheba visits Solomon, she fainted not because of smoke, but because of evidence. The scripture says, when she saw the wisdom of Solomon and the house that he had built, the food of his table, the seating of his servants, there was no more spirit in her. 2 Chronicles 9:3-4. Glory is not smoke in a room. Wrong picture. Glory is the full weight of the king made visible in how his citizens live. Okay, listen to me carefully. In a true kingdom, nothing is more important to a king than his reputation, his name. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Psalm 23:3. Name's sake means reputation. So if the citizens look poor, the king looks weak. If the streets are broken, the throne is questioned. Write this down. Your life is the brochure of your king. All kings are measured by their citizens. That is why a wise king will make provision a policy, not a charity. That's why palaces overflow. That's why plates are full. That's why uniforms match, not to impress the poor, but to protect the crown. Now, I must correct a lie that religion taught you. We keep praying, Lord, please, if you could just help me pay my rent. Wrong prayer. That's an insult to a king. In a kingdom, rent is not a favor. It is evidence that the land belongs to him and that he sustains those who carry his image. Jesus said, seek first the kingdom, and all these things shall be added unto you. Matthew 6:33. Added by whom? By the king, whose reputation is at stake. Write this down. Visible provision for the citizens is royal policy. This is why worship is not entertainment. It is evidence management. When we worship, we publicly acknowledge ownership. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. Psalm 24:1. That confession obligates the throne to defend its name through your life. Glory shows up as grocery. Don't spiritualize this away. The king's weight appears as full tables, stable systems, healed bodies, fruitful wombs, completed years, and safe borders. That is not arrogance. That is alignment. So here is our aim tonight, and I need you to lock it in your spirit. We are going to open a statute, Exodus 23, not as poetry, but as royal decree. We will not negotiate it. We will not reduce it to a memory verse you stick on your fridge. We will read it as citizens receiving policy from the throne. It says, you shall serve, worship the Lord your God, and he shall bless your bread and your water, and I will take sickness away from among you. None shall miscarry or be barren in your land. I will fulfill the number of your days. Exodus 23:25-26. Read that again later, but for now, hit a heartbeat. Worship activates obligation. The king ties his name to your visible state. Are you with me? Write this down and don't ever lose it. The king's house proves the king. Therefore, in this house, your life, your family, our corporate assembly, provision is not begged. It is expected because his reputation is on the line. Before we are done, we will legally claim 7 covenant benefits bound to worship in Exodus 23, provision, systems, health, protection of beginnings, productivity, longevity, and territorial favor. And we will stand in awe as they stack one on top of another until your very existence becomes a walking brochure that says to the world, behold, our king. Now we must reset your mind. Kingdoms are not democracies. Write it down. In a democracy, you negotiate with politicians for promises. In a kingdom, you receive decrees from a monarch who cannot afford to lose face. In a democracy, leaders make campaign speeches. In a kingdom, the king's word is law, and his law is his reputation. This is why kingdoms are different from democracies. Citizen care is the monarch's obligation. You don't vote for bread in a kingdom. Bread is budgeted in the palace to prove the throne is intact. Okay? Are you with me? Wrong prayer. Lord, if you could just please send a little bread this week. Stop that. That's an insult to a king. You've been trained by religion and democracy to negotiate for what the king already obligated himself to provide. The scripture says, I have been young and now am old. Yet have I not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. Psalm 37-25. Begging misrepresents the crown. When you beg for bread, you are saying to the watching world, my king might not be reliable. That's not humility. That's slander against the throne. Listen carefully. The word commonwealth means commonwealth. The wealth of the king held in trust for the good of all his citizens. In a kingdom, your table is not a private hustle. It is a public statement. Needs are not campaign promises to be debated every election cycle. They are the king's reputation on display every morning. This is why Jesus said, fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Luke 12:32. Not loan it, give it. Why? Because he must protect his name. For my own sake, I do it. My glory I will not give to another. Isaiah 48:11. Namesake means reputation. He will not allow his name to be dragged through the mud by the empty plates of his citizens. Write this down. Provision is not a miracle to be chased. It is a mandate the king placed on himself. My God shall supply all your need according to his riches in glory by Christ Jesus. Philippians 4:19. Glory is not smoke. Glory is the full weight of who he is. His nature expressed as systems, supply, and sufficiency. When the bakery of heaven is functioning, it's not because you cried long enough. It's because the king is consistent with himself. He is not a man that he should lie. Numbers 23:19. He obligated himself by covenant oath, and worship is your affidavit of agreement. So change your posture. Trade negotiation for acknowledgement. Instead of bargaining, Lord, if you do this, I'll do that. Stand as a citizen and declare, Jehovah Jireh, owner and provider. I thank you that my table is a royal expense. Gratitude, not groveling. Confession, not complaint. That's why Jesus told you, take no thought saying, what shall we eat? But seek first the kingdom, and all these things shall be added. Matthew 6:31-33. Added means obligated by policy. Added means the warehouse responds to the throne, not to your panic. Identity shift now. You are not a religious beggar playing spiritual lottery. You are a royal citizen under covenant. All the kings of the earth measure your king by you. Your shoes announce his standards. Your pantry preaches his policies. Your peace tells the neighborhood that the crown is secure. So stop negotiating what he already obligated himself to do. Stand in the dignity of citizenship and put pressure on his reputation the right way by thanking him publicly, daily, corporately. Say it out loud where the world can hear. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Psalm 23:1. That's not poetry. That's policy. I'm correcting you because I love you. Every time you choose worry language, you invite a democratic debate in a government that does not vote. But when you choose kingdom language, Father, yours is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, you shut down the argument and open the treasury. From this moment, we do not beg for bread. We bear witness to the baker. We do not negotiate for water. We acknowledge the owner of the well. This is the paradigm reset. In a true kingdom, provision is the king's duty to protect his name. Therefore, worship, our continuous acknowledgement of ownership, keeps us out of the line of beggars and in the lanes of citizens where policy is predictable and the king's honor remains untarnished. Write it down. Worship is not a mood. Worship is not your favorite slow song. Worship is daily public acknowledgement that he owns everything and you depend on him for everything. Say it with me. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein. Psalm 24:1. Ownership, fullness, all of it under his name. Listen to me carefully. When you acknowledge ownership, you trigger obligation. In a kingdom, the owner is the maintainer. If he owns it, he must sustain it to protect his reputation. Gratitude attracts prosperity, not whining. Wrong prayer. Lord, why is it always so hard? Stop it. That's an insult to a king. Right alignment. Father, I thank you. Every good and perfect gift is from above. James 1:17. Gratitude is legal alignment. Thanksgiving is your affidavit in the court of the king. Psalm 50:23 says, whoever offers praise glorifies me. Glory is not smoke. Glory is the full weight of his nature expressed through your outcomes. Bread on the table, systems that flow, bodies that function, projects that finish. When you say, thank you, owner, you sign the claim form. The treasury must respond to protect the name on the deed. Now hear me. Proximity matters. Favor is a private law the king makes just for you. Ask Esther. One moment of proximity rewrote a nation's calendar. Ask Nehemiah. A cupbearer near a throne walked out with letters, timber, and time off, custom law carved for one assignment. Ask Daniel. Royal access produced decrees that preserved prayer and protected prophets in lion dens. You want to get where the throne is. Worship is how you enter the inner court. Enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. Psalm 100:4. Gates and courts, legal language. Thanksgiving gets you into the complex. Praise brings you before the bench. When you are near, if he says something over you, it becomes a private statute, unstoppable, bespoke, and time-stamped by the throne. Public confession honors his reputation. Secrecy shrinks your claim. Let the redeemed of the Lord say so. Psalm 107:2. You cannot whisper allegiance and expect billboard blessings. Jesus said, whoever confesses me before men, him will I also confess before my Father. Matthew 10:32. Confession on earth produces confession in the court of heaven. That's policy. So open your mouth and name your king. Hallowed be thy name. Say his names. Jehovah Jireh, my provider. Jehovah Rapha, my healer. Jehovah Shalom, my peace. Jehovah Nisi, my banner. Jehovah Tzidkenu, my righteousness. Jehovah Rohi, my shepherd. He inhabits the praises of his people. Psalm 22:3. Inhabit means he sets up administration in the atmosphere you create with your gratitude. When the king moves in, policy moves with him. Let's correct something else. Worship is not bribery. Worship is alignment. You don't worship to make him kinder. You worship to make yourself legal. Hebrews 13:15 calls it the fruit of lips that acknowledge his name. Acknowledge, the word means to admit ownership publicly. Every thank you is you handing the keys back to the rightful owner. Every you own this business, you own this body, you own this calendar, is you shifting liability to the throne. In law, liability follows ownership. In a kingdom, duty follows dominion. If it's his, he must defend it. If it bears his name, he must fund it, heal it, and secure it for his name's sake. This is why Exodus 23 is not poetry, it's procedure. You shall serve, worship the Lord your God, and he shall bless your bread and your water, and I will take sickness away. The sequence is legal. You acknowledge, he activates. Serve equals worship, ongoing, not occasional. Not Sunday nostalgia, daily dependency. Wake up and say, owner, thank you. Walk into the office and say, owner, your wisdom runs these systems. Sit at the table and say, owner, this bread is a royal expense. Lay your hand on your chest and decree, owner, this body is Commonwealth property, keep it for your name's sake. So from this moment, stop performing worship and start practicing acknowledgement. Keep your mouth employed in thanksgiving. Keep your heart near the throne. Keep your identity public. Gratitude is the protocol. Favor is the outcome. Worship is practical. Legal alignment. Continuous ownership. Acknowledgement that activates the king's covenant duties. When you live like that, the court is always in session for your case, and the verdict keeps arriving as bread blessed, water flowing, sickness removed, beginnings protected, productivity guaranteed, days fulfilled, and borders expanded, all to uphold the reputation of your king. Now, set the court in your mind. Picture the bench, the seal of the crown above it, the clerk unrolling a scroll. This is not a devotional moment. This is legislative reading. Write it down. Exodus 23 is policy language, royal statute for citizens who serve. Not a suggestion, not a song lyric. A decree backed by the king's name, which means backed by his reputation. Okay? Are you with me? Read together. Go. And ye shall serve the Lord your God, and he shall bless thy bread and thy water, and I will take sickness away from the midst of thee. There shall nothing cast their young, nor be barren in thy land. The number of thy days I will fulfill. Exodus 23, 25, 26 KJV. Stop. Breathe. That is not poetry, that is policy. Read it again. Go. And ye shall serve the Lord your God, and he shall bless thy bread and thy water, and I will take sickness away from the midst of thee. There shall nothing cast their young, nor be barren in thy land. The number of thy days I will fulfill. Now we will number the benefits as the statute presents them, and we will say them aloud, because law loves clarity. Write and say them. Blessed bread, guaranteed supply. Your table is a royal expense. He shall bless thy bread. Blessed water, systems, streams, stability, and thy water. The flow will not fail. Infrastructure blessed. Sickness removed. Public health policy of the Commonwealth. I will take sickness away from the midst of thee. Not hide it, remove it. No miscarriage. Protection of beginnings. There shall nothing cast their young. Projects, pregnancies, plans go full term. No barrenness. Guaranteed productivity, nor be barren in thy land. Under this king, sterility is illegal. Full number of days. Longevity, aligned with assignment. The number of thy days I will fulfill. Not just survive years, fulfill them. 7, territorial favor. Now look at verses 27-30. The decree continues. I will send my fear before thee, and will destroy all the people to whom thou shalt come. I will send hornets before thee by little, and little I will drive them out from before thee, until thou be increased, and I will set thy bounds. That is, enemies displaced and borders expanded at a sustainable pace. Favor is when the king issues a private law for your movement, and opposition becomes relocation. Notice. Listen carefully to the hinge that swings all 7 doors. And ye shall serve the Lord your God. Serve is the legal trigger. The Hebrew avad work. Serve. Worship. Worship is the work of acknowledgement. The benefits do not stack on anxiety. Wrong hinge. They do not stack on bargaining. Wrong hinge. They stack on worship. Ongoing, public, legal, confession of ownership. When you align with that hinge, the doors cannot argue with you because they are duty bound to the decree. Write this down. The statute ties blessing to service, not sentiment. This is why some of you have been exhausted praying emergency prayers that heaven never authorized. We keep negotiating with the throne. Lord, if you do this, I'll do that. Wrong posture. That's an insult to a king. The law already specifies his obligations when you specify your allegiance. Serve, and he shall. Serve, and I will. Do you hear the cadence? Your worship activates his shall and his will. That is royal future tense. Irrevocable once uttered, because God is not a man that he should lie. Numbers 23:19. So we receive the statute as citizens. We do not reduce it to a refrigerator magnet. We elevate it to courtroom evidence. Keep it in your mouth, because confession is how citizens carry law into the marketplace. When you say, owner, I thank you, you are not being emotional. You are being legal. You are invoking clauses. You are summoning policy. Bread, water, health, protected beginnings, productivity, fulfilled years, and territorial favor stacked, not scattered, activated by worship, not by worry. Enforced for his name's sake, not for our vanity. This is royal decree. Honor it, align with it, and watch the king defend his reputation through your outcomes. Benefit one stands at the front of the procession, like a royal steward announcing dinner. He shall bless thy bread. Write it down. Bread is not just a slice. Bread is the staple economy of your life. Bread is your pantry, your payroll, your groceries, your children's lunch, your pantry shelves, your company's cash flow. Bread is the wheat in the field, the rain schedule, the combine in the harvest, the mill that turns grain to flour, the oven that refuses to fail at dawn, the truck that arrives on time, the store that stays stocked, the budget that meets the month without apology. Bread is the visible face of the king's policy at your table. And the statute says, he shall bless thy bread. Listen to me carefully. In a kingdom, the king funds the table because his reputation sits at it with you. When you lay out plates, the crown is present. When your children eat, The neighborhood is reading the king's brochure. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies, Psalm 23:5. That is royal language. Your table is a royal expense, not a private hustle. Wrong mindset says, I hope we make it this month. Kingdom mindset says, owner, thank you, your name is on this table. Gratitude is the legal key. Thank him before you ask. Thanksgiving is a signature that opens warehouses you don't see. Jesus taught you policy in practice. Jesus then took the loaves, and when he had given thanks, he distributed, John 6:11. He did not negotiate with lack. He acknowledged the owner. Thanks triggered multiplication. That was not a parlor trick. That was a king protecting his name among hungry citizens. Read this in your spirit. Give us this day our daily bread. Matthew 6:11. Us, daily bread, corporate, consistent, concrete. That prayer is not begging. It is a citizen invoking policy. The psalmist looked back over a lifetime of audits and concluded, I have been young and now am old. Yet have I not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. Psalm 37-25. Begging misrepresents the throne. When you beg for bread, you insult the baker. Wrong prayer. The right posture is worship, continuous ownership, acknowledgement that triggers duty. You shall serve the Lord your God, and he shall bless thy bread. Serve, and he shall. That is legal sequence. Your worship activates his warehouse. Let me make it practical. Bread blessed means your pantry refuses emaciation. Bread blessed means your payroll clears with dignity and surplus. Bread blessed means contracts arrive like morning bread, fresh, on time, and enough for the day. Bread blessed means the coupon you needed appears. The client you thought you lost calls back. The idea that looked like crumbs becomes enough for 5,000 with baskets left over. Bread blessed means the baker's oven of your enterprise fires on schedule because the owner has an interest in the aroma. The glory of the king shows up as grocery. The weight of his name appears in weighty loaves on your table. So adjust your morning protocol. Before you open the fridge, open your mouth, enter his gates with thanksgiving. Psalm 100-4. Say, owner, thank you, this table carries your seal. Do not wait for the shelves to be empty to start worshiping. Gratitude is not the last resort. It is the first policy. When you give thanks, you are not performing. You are filing a claim. The court recognizes thanksgiving as an affidavit. The king, to protect his reputation, releases supply through channels you did not even know existed. Reigns over regions. Favor with suppliers. Wisdom in budgeting. Supernatural timing with shipments. He blesses your bread by blessing the system that gets it to you. The blessing moves from field to fork because the name on the deed is faithful. God is not a man that he should lie. Numbers 23:19. Now decree it, because law loves voice. Say it out loud where anxiety can hear you. My bread is blessed. The king backs my pantry and my payroll. Again, my bread is blessed. The king backs my pantry and my payroll. Keep that decree in your kitchen, in your staff meeting, in your planning sessions. Keep worship at the center like salt in the dough. Because in this kingdom, worship legally guarantees sustained, sufficient bread. Your table is a royal expense, and the king will not allow his name to be questioned by an empty plate in his house. Now the statute moves from table to tap and thy water. Write it down. Water is not a glass. Water is a network. Water is sources, systems, streams, and stability. Water is the aquifer under your land, the treatment plant you never see, the pipes in the street, the valves that open on time, the river that stays within its banks, the rain that honors its season. Translated to your life, water is also utilities that don't fail, servers that don't crash, workflows that don't jam, supply chains that don't snap, revenue streams that don't dry up. Bread is item. Water is infrastructure. The king does not only bless the loaf, he blesses the line that delivers it. He shall bless thy bread and thy water. Listen to me carefully. In a democracy, you fight for cups. In a kingdom, the crown secures the wells. Wrong prayer. Lord, please, just don't let everything break down this week. Stop that. That's an insult to a king. Right alignment. Owner, thank you. You bless my systems, my streams, my supply. Gratitude is legal alignment. When you worship, you don't just ask for a sip. You acknowledge the owner of the watershed and the waterworks. The scripture says, there is a river, the streams whereof shall make glad the city of God. Psalm 46:4. Streams, plural. God thinks in systems. He blesses the plurality of your flows: cash flow, idea flow, information flow, traffic flow, production flow. Read this and find it in your spirit. And the Lord shall guide thee continually, and satisfy thy soul in drought, and make fat thy bones. And thou shalt be like a watered garden, and like a spring of water whose waters fail not. Isaiah 58, fail not. That's policy language. The king's reputation cannot survive a city of citizens with chronic outages. He therefore binds his name to your continuity. I will open rivers in high places and fountains in the midst of the valleys. Isaiah 41:18. That means supply where it shouldn't be and stability where it's usually unstable. That's royal intervention at the level of infrastructure. Let's make it concrete. Blessed water means your irrigation works when the forecast frowns. Blessed water means your team's workflow finds a groove, handoffs are clean, approvals timely, bottlenecks dissolved. Blessed water means the payment clears, the API responds, the server load balances, the email lands in the inbox, the shipping lane stays open, the calendar syncs, the factory line keeps cadence, the Wi-Fi refuses mood swings. Blessed water means the arteries in your body keep a holy rhythm. Circulation smooth, kidneys filtering, eyes hydrated, mind clear, because the owner maintains his property. For ye are bought with a price, 1 Corinthians 6:20. Ownership triggers maintenance. Maintenance demands systems. Systems need blessing. Worship secures the flow. Write this down. The king blesses not just the bucket, but the brook. Not just the faucet, but the watershed. Not just the invoice, but the rails it rides to become cash in the account. Deuteronomy 28:12 says, the Lord shall open unto thee his good treasure, the heaven to give the rain unto thy land in his season, and to bless all the work of thine hand. Rain in its season, that's scheduling. Bless the work of your hand, that's process stabilize. You don't have to micromanage rain. You have to magnify the ruler. Pray less about drought. Praise the owner of wells and workflows. Call him by name, Jehovah Shammah, present in the plant. Jehovah Jireh, funding the line. Jehovah Shalom, peace in the process. Jehovah Nissi, banner over your bridges. Jehovah Rohi, shepherd of your streams. Now employ your mouth, because law loves voice. Decree it so anxiety can hear you, leak-proof your life. Say, my streams are blessed, no leakage, no drought, no shutdown. Again, my streams are blessed, no leakage, no drought, no shutdown. One more time until your atmosphere submits. My streams are blessed, no leakage, no drought, no shutdown. Psalm 1 says, you are like a tree planted by the rivers of water, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. Psalm 1-3. Rivers, plural, feed in roots that never panic. That is not romance, that is regime. So here is your practice. Every time you touch a system, worship. When you turn on a tap, say, owner, thank you for the unseen faithful. When you submit a workflow, whisper, owner, bless the line. When you ship a product, decree, owner, keep the lanes open. When you log into the server, confess, owner. You stabilize this platform for your name's sake. Thanksgiving is not courtesy. It is claim filing. Worship keeps your valves oiled, your pipes pressurized, your rivers replenished. And because his reputation is at stake, he will make your city glad by streams that fail not. He shall bless thy water. Now the decree moves from pipelines to people. Listen carefully. I will take sickness away from the midst of thee. Write it down. Not reduce, remove. Not hide, evict. Not manage, abolish. That is not the language of a clinic. That is the language of a crown. In a kingdom, the health of the citizens is the billboard of the king's care. Nothing insults a monarch more than a parade of limping ambassadors when foreign dignitaries are watching. The king's name is at stake in the well-being of his people. He therefore binds his reputation to health policy. He calls himself by a name to keep himself accountable. Jehovah Rapha, I am the Lord that healeth thee. Exodus 15:26. Namesake means reputation. He heals to uphold his name. Read it again. Go. I will take sickness away from the midst of thee. Exodus 23:25. From the midst, that's corporate. Not just your toe, your cousin, or your favorite intercessor. It's the atmosphere among us. Health as commonwealth policy. When a king visits a province, the roads are swept and the garbage is removed. Worship is the royal announcement that the king is resident. His arrival authorizes sanitation at scale. He inhabits the praise of his people. Psalm 22:3. Inhabit means set up administration. And when the king sets up administration, disease becomes an illegal occupant. Light does not negotiate with darkness. It displaces it. He sent his word and healed them and delivered them from their destructions. Psalm 107:20. Delivered, removed. Wrong prayer. Lord, if it be your will, maybe heal some of us sometime. Stop that. That's an insult to a king with a published policy and a revealed name. Right alignment. Owner, for your name's sake, Jehovah Rapha, remove sickness from our midst. This is not presumption. This is legislation. Who forgiveth all thine iniquities, who healeth all thy diseases. Psalm 103:3. All is kingdom language. Jesus walked under this statute and enforced it publicly. He went about healing every sickness and every disease among the people. Matthew 9:35. Why? To showcase the nature of the king. Matthew wrote that it might be fulfilled. Himself took our infirmities and bare our sicknesses. Matthew 8:17. Took and bare, carried away. Removal language. Write this down. Worship authorizes execution. The decree exists, but worship summons the officers. When you acknowledge the owner, you shift liability to the throne. If he owns the body, he must maintain it. For ye are bought with a price. 1 Corinthians 6:20. If this congregation bears his name, he must defend its well-being for his reputation's sake. That is why James says, is any sick among you? Let him call for the elders of the church, and the prayer of faith shall save the sick, and the Lord shall raise him up. James 5:14-15. The Lord raises because his name is on the line. So what do? Host his presence with worship until policy becomes climate. Fill the atmosphere with gratitude, Todah, Yada, lifted hands, and confess thanks, not as performance, but as protocol. Keep the word in the air, because they are life unto those that find them, and health to all their flesh. Proverbs 4:22. Walk the aisles and touch the chairs and say, owner, this is your house. Make it a well house. Lay holy pressure on his reputation with public thanksgiving. Announce Jehovah Rapha in song and in schedule. Build services where complaint has no microphone and gratitude takes the lead. Expect policy level wellness in your midst, fewer outbreaks, faster recoveries, creative strategies, wise nutrition, supernatural stamina, because the king is present to protect his name. Now employ your mouth, because law loves voice. Decree it so symptoms and statistics, here you submit them to statute. Say, sickness is removed from our house, our team, our congregation. Again, sickness is removed from our house, our team, our congregation. One more time with the king's name on it. Sickness is removed from our house, our team, our congregation, for Jehovah Rapha's name's sake. I bless your bodies under royal policy. Immune systems, remembering their training. Cells, obeying order. Minds, clear. Sleep, sweet. Blood pressure, governed by peace. Bones, strengthened. Inflammation, dismissed. Recovery, accelerated. I bless this congregation as an embassy where health testifies. And I decree over our midst what the statute already wrote. He will take sickness away, not reduce, remove. Not to boast in us, but to vindicate his name among the nations. Let the king be true, and every lying symptom a fading rumor. For the Lord upholds his reputation in the health of his citizens. Write it down. The statute continues. There shall nothing cast their young. Exodus 23:26. That is legal language for no miscarriage, no premature loss of what just began. Listen to me carefully. The kingdom does not only fund outcomes, the kingdom ensures incubations. The king protects beginnings because his reputation is invested at conception. If he starts it, he must sustain it to full term to protect his name. Being confident of this very thing, that he which hath begun a good work in you will perform it. Philippians 1-6. Begin and perform, start and finish are royal verbs in the same sentence. Read the promise in God's own voice. Shall I bring to the birth and not cause to bring forth, saith the Lord. Shall I cause to bring forth and shut the womb? Saith thy God, Isaiah 66-9. That is courtroom rhetoric. He is cross-examining your fear. The king does not call for labor and then lock the delivery room. Wrong picture. That's an insult to a king. Heaven funds the nursery and guarantees the calendar. Worship is the canopy, the amniotic atmosphere that keeps the embryo of your assignment safe. Gratitude is the legal guard at the door of the womb of your body and of your business, of your ministry and of your manuscript, of your study plan and of your city initiative. Write this down. Beginnings are fragile by design. That's why God covers them by decree. Jesus taught the process. First the blade, then the ear, after that the full corn in the ear. Mark 4:28. Blade seasons need hush and honor. Do not despise the day of small things. Zechariah 4:10. Do not expose the sprout to the chatter of cynics. Murmuring is a toxin to embryos. Complaining is acid to assignment. Stop narrating fear over what God just planted. Wrong prayer. Lord, I hope this doesn't fail like the last time. Stop that. Replace it with royal protocol. Honor, thank you. What you conceived, you will carry to term for your name's sake. Gratitude aligns. Fear aborts. Let the weak say, I am strong. Joel 3:10. Put strength vocabulary in your nursery. Consider Mary. When the word was conceived in her by the Holy Ghost, she did not host a panel of doubters. She went to Elizabeth, where worship leaped in the womb. Luke 1:41. Worship causes babies to leap. Environments matter. Build greenhouses around your first drafts and first trimesters. Choirs of thanksgiving, not cabinets of anxiety. Habakkuk says, the vision is yet for an appointed time. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. Habakkuk 2-3. Appointed time means the king set the due date. Your job is not to accelerate with panic, but to incubate with praise. Make it practical. Over every new contract, whisper, owner, carry this to term. Over every syllabus, blueprint, and prototype, decree, owner, protect this gestation. Lay hands on calendars and say, the due date is holy. Over wombs in this congregation, I declare Psalm 127-3. Lo, children are an heritage of the Lord. Heritage means his possession, and what he owns, he maintains. Over ventures in their first quarter, I speak Isaiah 41-10. Fear thou not, I will uphold thee. Uphold like everlasting arms under a newborn. Over ministries and launch phase, I proclaim 1 Thessalonians 5:24. Faithful is he that calleth you, who also will do it. He will do it, finish what he started, because his name is tied to the outcome. God early stages with praise. Put thanksgiving on your lips before you put metrics on your spreadsheet. Seal meetings with worship before you sign paperwork. Surround your house with toda and yada lifted hands and confess thanks until your walls hum like a nursery monitor. Silence murmurers. Limit autopsies of old failures. Feed your future on testimonies. Starve your fear of attention. Keep the statute in the air. You shall serve. And he shall serve covers conception. He shall carries to term. Now employ your mouth, because law loves voice. Decree it so history hears you. Break a cycle. Say, what we conceive by God shall not abort. Full term, full strength. Again, what we conceive by God shall not abort. Full term, full strength. One more time with the king's name on it. What we conceive by God shall not abort. Full term, full strength for the Lord's name's sake. I bless your beginnings under royal policy. I bless pregnancies in this house, carried in peace, delivered in joy, mothers strong, children whole. I bless projects in first draft, protected from sabotage, resourced on schedule, milestones met without panic. I bless startups and new departments, teams unified, permits approved, cash flow steady, learning curves gentle. I bless callings awakening at dawn, mentors appearing, doors opening, stamina supplied. And I bind to your atmosphere the decree of the king. There shall nothing cast their young. The greenhouse of worship stands over you. The due dates are defended. The king will not allow his reputation to be questioned by a room full of empty cradles. What he begins, he finishes. What he conceives, he carries. What he promises, he performs. Full term, full strength for his name's sake. Benefit 5 steps forward like an inspector with a ledger and a smile. Nor be barren in thy land. Exodus 23:26. Write it down. Barrenness is illegal in this jurisdiction. No sterile season for citizens. Not in your soil, not in your body, not in your business, not in your ministry, not in your mind. Read it again. Go, nor be barren in thy land. The land belongs to the owner, and the owner expects his property to produce. Glory is the full weight of a thing. The glory of a seed is fruit. The king binds his name to your outputs, because all the kings measure your king by you. This is not motivational talk. This is royal statute. Under this king, productivity is not optional. It's guaranteed when worship aligns you with ownership. Listen to me carefully. The first command humanity ever heard was policy language. Be fruitful and multiply. Genesis 1:28. Not a suggestion. Fruitfulness is the will of the crown. Jesus reinforced the audit. Herein is my Father glorified, that ye bear much fruit. John 15:8. Much fruit is how we showcase the reputation of our King. He is not impressed with busy leaves. He inspects for outcomes. The fig tree looked successful, but it produced nothing. And Jesus rendered a verdict on barrenness. Mark 11:13-14. Religion celebrates leaves. The kingdom audits fruit. Wrong metric. Stop counting efforts. Start counting evidence. The owner is not paying you for sweat. He is revealing himself through harvest. Write this down. Worship unlocks design capacity. Abide, and you will abound. He that abideth in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. John 15:5. Abide is worship. Fruit is automatic when alignment is legal. The statute is comprehensive. In thy land. That means across domains. Deuteronomy 7:14 expands it. Thou shalt be blessed above all people. There shall not be male or female barren among you or among your cattle. Bodies fruitful, herds fruitful, fields fruitful, enterprises fruitful, sermons fruitful, strategies fruitful. Worship breaks sterility in every system you steward. Wrong prayer. Lord, at least let me try my best. Stop that. That's an insult to a king. Right alignment. Owner, thank you. Your property produces for your name's sake. Gratitude places a demand on the nature of the seed and the honesty of the soil. Psalm 1 says, the righteous bringeth forth his fruit in its season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. Psalm 1-3. Season speaks to timing. Wither speaks to stamina. Prosper speaks to outcomes. That's policy. Now let's apply it. Over bodies in this house, I speak El Shaddai. I am God Almighty. Be fruitful and multiply. Genesis 35-11. Wombs align. Hormones harmonize. Doctors discover wisdom, peace, remove stress from the soil of the body. Over fields and farms, I decree rains in their season, pests restrained, equipment faithful, pricing fair, storage protected. Over businesses, I bless pipelines to turn into products, leads into clients, meetings into decisions, proposals into signatures, invoices into deposits, ideas into intellectual property. Over ministries, I bless sermons to become salvations, classes to become disciples, visits to become members, gatherings to become transformations. Over creatives, I bless drafts to become releases, melodies to become albums, sketches to become collections. Measured by fruit, not fuss. By output, not overtime. The owner funds dividends because his name is on the deed. And here is your practice. Worship before you work and while you work and after you work. Because worship is not music. Worship is ownership, acknowledgement. Say over your calendar, this land is yours. Say over your team, these vines are yours. Say over your mind, these thoughts are your garden. Isaiah 54:1 commands a sound. Sing, O barren, for more are the children of the desolate than the children of the married wife, saith the Lord. Sing first, then stretch the tent. Gratitude is the sound that turns deserts into orchards. I will make the wilderness a pool of water, that they may see and know that the hand of the Lord hath done this. Isaiah 41 to 18:20. See and know, reputation language. Fruit proves the king. Now employ your mouth, because law loves voice. Decree it so your land hears its assignment. Say, no barrenness in our land. Ideas, fields, and people all produce. Again, no barrenness in our land. Ideas, fields, and people all produce. One more time with the king's name on it. No barrenness in our land. Ideas, fields, and people all produce for the Lord's name's sake. I bless you with palm tree resilience and cedar stature, planted, flourishing, fruitful, still in old age. Psalm 92 to 12:14. I bless your quarters with quotas, met and surpassed without panic. I bless your homes with laughter of children and the legacy of wisdom. I bless your churches with nets that do not break and barns that do not burst without plan. The statute stands, nor be barren in thy land. Worship the owner and watch the land. Remember its design. Fruit come forth, results appear. For the king will defend his reputation through your harvest. Benefit, 6 steps forward, like a royal scheduler with a seal in his hand. The number of thy days I will fulfill. Exodus 23:26. Write it down. Not merely long life, fulfilled life. Not adding years to a calendar, but adding completion to your years. Fulfill means fill it up to design, to purpose, to brim. A king does not send an ambassador to leave mid-negotiation. He secures the visa to match the mission. The king preserves capacity to represent him well across seasons because his reputation travels in your stamina. Read it again. Go. The number of thy days I will fulfill. Listen to me carefully. In a democracy, you try to survive. In a kingdom, the crown guarantees you finish. Wrong prayer. Lord, just let me make it somehow. Stop that. That's an insult to a king who publishes policy. Right alignment. Owner, thank you. You fulfill my days. I will finish my assignment for your name's sake. Psalm 91 to 16 says, with long life will I satisfy him and shew him my salvation. Satisfy means enough to say, it is finished regarding what I was sent to do. Paul said it this way, I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith. 2 Timothy 4 to 7. Finish my course, kingdom vocabulary. Write this down. Worship secures fulfilled years because worship keeps you near the throne where schedules are set. Anxiety spends days. Gratitude extends them. Jesus asks, which of you by taking thought can add 1 cubit unto his stature? Matthew 6:27. Worry cannot add, it subtracts. Worship cannot subtract, it aligns. Alignment gives you the exact days required for the exact work assigned. Psalm 23 tells you how. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Namesake reputation governs your paths and your pace. Pace protects years. Consider the royal case studies. Moses at 120, his eye was not dim, nor his natural force abated. Deuteronomy 34 to 7. That is not romance, that is regime. Caleb at 85. As yet I am as strong this day as I was. Now therefore give me this mountain. Joshua 14:11-12. Strength with assignment, not retirement with regret. Isaiah 46 to 4 is the king's oath to the aging. Even to your old age I am he, and even to hoar hairs will I carry you, and I will deliver you. Carried, made, and delivered, that is maintenance language from the owner of the property. Psalm 103 to 5 adds policy to practice. Who satisfieth thy mouth with good things, so that thy youth is renewed like the eagles. Renewed youth is not vanity, it is viability for vocation. The king renews what he still intends to use. Make it practical. Number your days by worship, not by worry. So teach us to number our days, that we may apply our hearts unto wisdom. Psalm 90 to 12. Wisdom is scheduling under sovereignty. Start days with ownership, acknowledgement. Owner, these hours are yours. Assign them. Rest is not laziness in a kingdom. Rest is loyalty. Sabbath is an allegiance sign that says, I trust the crown to do more with my 6 than I can do with my 7. Isaiah 30-15 announces the royal strategy. In returning and rest shall ye be saved. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Return in worship. Rest by trust. Quiet your storms with gratitude. Confidence becomes strength, and strength stretches seasons. Guard your years from thieves. Strife steals days. Bitterness burns calendars. Envy exhausts stamina. Unforgiveness is a parasite that eats tomorrows. Evict them with thanksgiving. Keep your environment singing the King's names. Jehovah Shalom, peace that governs your blood pressure. Jehovah Rohi, shepherd who sets your pace. El Olam, the everlasting God who keeps covenant across decades. Jehovah Rapha, healer, who maintains the temple so the ministry continues. Put your identity in front of your itinerary. You are a citizen on assignment, not a slave to urgency. The king will not allow his ambassador to die in the lobby when the treaty is still on the table. Now employ your mouth, because law loves voice. Decree it so time itself hears you. Submit it to statute. Say, we finish full. No premature exits. No wasted years. Again, we finish full. No premature exits. No wasted years. One more time with the king's name on it. We finish full. No premature exits. No wasted years. For the Lord's name's sake. I bless your chronology under royal policy. I bless you with Psalm 128-6. You shall see your children's children. I bless you with protected travel, averted accidents, stable minds, resilient bodies, restored sleep, sharpened focus. I bless your pace urgent when the trumpet sounds, unhurried when wisdom whispers. I bless baton passing with dignity, mentors, raising successors, legacies secured, estates ordered, testimonies written. And I bind the statute to your atmosphere. The number of thy days I will fulfill. The king will fill your years with assignment completed, friendships reconciled, debts settled, songs sung, books finished, lands possessed, not merely long but full, not merely aged but strong, not merely present but purposeful. For he upholds his reputation in the longevity of his citizens who worship the owner and walk out their number with strength. Benefit 7 steps forward like a royal surveyor with a signet and a map. Listen to the decree as written. Read together. Go. I will send my fear before thee, and will destroy all the people to whom thou shalt come. And I will make all thine enemies turn their backs unto thee. And I will send hornets before thee, which shall drive out the Hivite, the Canaanite, and the Hittite from before thee. I will not drive them out from before thee in 1 year, lest the land become desolate, and the beasts of the field multiply against thee. By little and little I will drive them out from before thee, until thou be increased and inherit the land. Exodus 23:27-30. Read it again. Go. I will send my fear before thee by little and little until thou be increased. Write it down. Favor first, fight last. Pace is policy. Listen to me carefully. In a democracy, you negotiate space. In a kingdom, the crown assigns territory for his reputation. Favor is a private law the king makes for you. When a king whispers a decree in the inner court, Esther proved it. An entire province reconfigures. That's favor. It is not luck. It is legislation with your name on it. I will send my fear before thee. That means your arrival will be preceded by heaven's press release. Meetings lean your way. Policies tilt. Competitors develop sudden hobbies. Enemies turn their backs. Retreat becomes their strategy. And notice the instruments. Hornets. God has a swarm for what you shouldn't waste your strength swatting. He will agitate opposition into evacuation while you worship. Wrong prayer. Lord, let me crush it with my might right now. Stop that. That's an insult to a king whose policy includes protection of pace, right alignment. Owner, thank you. Send your fear. Drive them out. Regulate our expansion for your name's sake. Write this down. Sustainable expansion is royal wisdom. I will not drive them out in 1 year by little and little until thou be increased. Heaven expands borders at the rate of your internal capacity. No empty land to attract predators. No fast fame to ruin character. No sudden scale that collapses systems. Kingdom growth matches stewardship. Jesus echoed the statute. First the blade, then the ear. After that, the full corn in the ear. Mark 4:28. Capacity, then territory. Worship aligns you with the throne's calendar so you don't sabotage yourself with hurry. Pace is protection. Expansion without burnout is policy. Now apply it. Where are your borders? Departments, campuses, markets, neighborhoods, digital reach, diplomatic lanes. Expect room to open as you increase. Expect introductions that were never on your vision board. Expect doors that fit your height right now and hinges that stretch as you grow. Joshua heard it this way: every place that the sole of your foot shall tread upon, that have I given unto you. Joshua 1-3. Tread, then take. Step, then secure. Psalm 44:3 explains the engine of conquest. For they got not the land by their sword, but thy right hand, because thou hadst a favor unto them. Favor unto you is the private law, the king writes, to protect his reputation through your success. And when your ways please the Lord, he maketh even your enemies to be at peace with you. Proverbs 16:7. Peace is cheaper than war. That's favor's efficiency. Make it practical. Worship while you scout. Sing while you survey. Thank him while you apply for permits. While you negotiate leases. While you train teams. Favor goes before. Excellence follows behind. Secure counselors. Strengthen systems. And schedule Sabbaths so growth does not gut your soul. Do not announce what God has not assigned. Declare only what he has decreed. Put Jehovah Nissi, the Lord our banner, over your meetings, and Jehovah Sabaoth, the Lord of hosts, over your battles. You will never have to fight. Expect hornets in the enemy's camp, glitches, misalignments, sudden relocations that clear space for you without headlines. Expect neighbors to turn allies, regulators to give clarity, landowners to recall your name at 3 a.m. Expect the map to bend because the throne leaned. Now employ your mouth because law loves voice. Decree it so gates and borders hear statute. Say, terror goes before us. Territory enlarges without burnout. Again, terror goes before us. Territory enlarges without burnout. One more time with the king's name on it. Terror goes before us. Territory enlarges without burnout for the Lord's name's sake. I bless your borders under royal policy. I bless zoning approvals, visas stamped, contracts clean, titles clear, permits granted, stakeholder peace. I bless your staffing with loyalty and skill, your cash flow with predictability, your security with angelic patrols. I bless your pace little by little, capacity growing with acreage, wisdom growing with visibility, prayer growing with influence. The lines are fallen unto me in pleasant places. Yea, I have a goodly heritage. Psalm 16:6. I bind to your atmosphere the statute of the king. He sends fear ahead, hornets into opposition. Retreat to your enemies and measured increase until you inherit. Not frantic sprawl, but royal spread. Not breaches, but borders. Not exhaustion, but enthronement. For the king will uphold his reputation in the way he clears your way and enlarges your place as you worship the owner and walk the land he names for you. Lift your voice and return to the statute. Read together. Go. And ye shall serve the Lord your God, and he shall bless thy bread 1 and thy water 2, and I will take sickness away from the midst of thee 3. There shall nothing cast their young, 4, nor be barren in thy land. 5, the number of thy days I will fulfill. 6, Exodus 23:25-26. Read it again. Go. Serve the Lord your God. Bless thy bread 1, thy water 2. Take sickness away. 3, nothing cast their young. 4, nor be barren. 5, number of thy days I will fulfill. 6. Now Ad will be opened earlier from the same decree. I will send my fear before thee by little and little until thou be increased and inherit the land. Exodus 23:27-30. That's 7. Territorial favor and measured expansion. Write it down. The trigger is corporate worship. The outcome is 7-fold policy. Listen to me carefully. Keep the statute in your mouth. Law loves voice. We are going to stack them now as a single royal proclamation. Say it strong with me. 1 blessed bread. Our tables are a royal expense. 2, blessed water. Our systems, streams, and supply chains flow. 3, sickness removed. Health is Commonwealth policy. 4, no miscarriage. Beginnings go full term. 5, no barrenness. Productivity is guaranteed. 6, full number of days. We finish our assignment with strength. 7, territorial favor. Fear goes before us. Borders expand at a sustainable pace. Again, 1, blessed bread. 2, blessed water. 3, sickness removed. 4, no miscarriage. 5, no barrenness. 6, full days. 7, territorial favor. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all his benefits. Psalm 103:2. We will not forget. We will decree. Activation protocol. Write it down. Morning and evening worship every day. Ownership, acknowledgement before activities. Say, owner, these hours are yours. I serve and you shall. Ownership, acknowledgement before rest. Say, owner, you maintain me today. You will maintain me tonight. Keep a gratitude ledger. 10 lines daily. Not feelings, facts. Thank him for bread on the table, water in the pipes, diagnosis reversed, contracts carried to term, outputs achieved, hours fulfilled, and borders open. Gratitude attracts prosperity, not prayer. Wrong prayer. Lord, if you could just help me survive another week. Stop that. That's an insult to a king who publishes policy. Right decree. Owner, I acknowledge your ownership. For your name's sake, these 7 stand active in my life and in our house. Declare his names to put pressure on his reputation. This is legal, not emotional. Jehovah Jireh, bless our bread. Jehovah Shalom, stabilize our waters and our systems. Jehovah Rapha, remove sickness from the midst of us. El Shaddai, carry every conception to term. Elohim, breathe on our seed so there is no barrenness in our land. El Olam, fulfill the number of our days. Jehovah Nisi and Jehovah Sabaoth, send your fear before us and order our expansion little by little. Keep his names in your corridors, your kitchens, your dashboards, your calendars. Public confession is loyalty to the crown. Jesus said, whosoever therefore shall confess me before men, him will I confess also before my Father. Matthew 10:32. Confession in public puts pressure in heaven, reputation pressure. All the kings measure your king by you. Proximity practice, stay near the throne. Favor is a private law the king makes just for you, and proximity writes clauses with your name on them. Nearness is maintained by gratitude, holiness, and obedience. Keep your schedule throne facing. Scripture at the gate of the day. Worship at the hinge of transitions. Thanksgiving, sealing meetings. Choose the inner court over the outer crowd. Esther stood near favor, and nations pivoted. Nehemiah stood near, and walls rose. Daniel stood near, and lions slept. You stand near, and these 7 will personalize for your path. Now we commission your mouth and your rhythm. Say it. We serve, and he shall. Again, we serve, and he shall. One more time with the king's name on it. We serve, and he shall, for the Lord's name's sake. I send you with statute in your spirit and gratitude in your throat. Keep this decree in your meetings, your meals, your marches, your midnights. Teach it to your children. Write it on your walls. Whisper it into your spreadsheets. And may you never have to be asked to worship again. May worship rise from you like breath, constant and unquestioned, activating daily what the king has obligated himself to perform. The policy stands. The benefits are stacked. The king upholds his reputation in you.